Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I am participating today in a YouTube hop for honeybee stamps, and this is celebrating the release of an amazing new collection called Vintage Love. This is a love-themed collection, but honestly, it's one of those collections that really translates to any time of the year because it is love-themed, and it is absolutely stunning. I'm very excited to share some of those products with you today. Make sure that you check the description box below for all of the information on how you can win a gift card to the Honeybee shop, and make sure that you hop along with all of the other videos in the hop today. I'm going to be creating with the Eternal Love stamp and coordinating die set today as the primary products, but I'm also going to be using the Lovely Layers birdcage dies. This is the beautiful artwork created and designed by Don Holsleigel. This set is called Eternal Love, and it does include these beautiful floral images and amazing sentiments, as well as a coordinating die set that cuts out the florals and the sentiments as well. Now, I did cut out that birdcage from some brushed gold cardstock from Spellbinders, so that is going to be one of the focal point images for the front of my card. I'm going to stamp out two of the beautiful floral images from Eternal Love onto some watercolor paper, and I am using some waterproof black ink here for stamping out these images. I'm using the Distress watercolor paper, and I'm actually using the smooth side of that paper rather than the bumpy side. The watercoloring I'm going to be doing today is going to be using Distress inks. I'm going to use Scattered Straw, Victorian Velvet, Rustic Wilderness, and Shabby Shutters. And I have just put some of that ink out onto my glass mat here, and I am going to just add a little bit of water with my Distress bottle to each one of those different little puddles of ink. I'm going to go in with some clear water first on my brush and wet the area that I'm going to be painting, and then I'll pick up some of that Scattered Straw with my clean brush, and I'm just going to lay down a really light layer of that pale yellow. Then I'll go into the ink that's not diluted, and I'll just drop in a little bit of that darker color wherever I want the shadows to be. Now, I am not a professional watercolorist. This is not going to be done professionally in any way, but I will say that watercoloring is probably my second most favorite way to color images. I think probably my favorite way is with a stencil, just because it's really fast and usually fairly simple. But I do find that watercoloring with Distress inks is also very, very simple. So I'm doing the same technique here with these smaller florals in this little bouquet here. This time using the Victorian Velvet, I've wet all of the different petals, then I'm going in with the light diluted color, and then I'm going in with the darker undiluted color and just dropping in some shadows into the areas where I feel like I want it to just be a little bit darker. I'm going to use that same technique again with my greens. I'm starting off with the wet leaves and the Shabby Shutters, and then I'll go in with the Rustic Wilderness to darken up some of the areas. Now, you'll probably notice, and I have sped this up, but you'll probably notice that I do leave some of the paper white, so I'm not worried about the pigment going absolutely to the edge of the black ink. That isn't really a concern for me. I just want the impression of the color. And I just really like watercoloring in that way and creating just a really, really loose colored image. It does not have to be perfect. I find that watercoloring is super, super forgiving. So here you can just see I'm going in with that darker over top of the light, almost kind of like an underpainting. The lighter colors kind of like the underpainting, and then you can go in with the darker pigment and just lay down the shadows. Now, I believe this flower is a peony. I'm not sure, but that's what I think it is. It's beautiful. These images designed by Don Holsleigel are just absolutely stunning. You'll also see that we do have some florals and really cool stamp sets in this collection designed by Kelly Taylor. So if you do love to color or you want to try some coloring, we do have some really, really great options in this new release. So I loved coloring this with that Victorian velvet. Again, you can just see that I wet all of the petals with clear water, then went over with just a really nice light coverage of that Victorian velvet. And now I'm just going and dropping in the darker. And you'll notice that I leave some highlights with that, just that lighter color, and I just make sure that I don't go over those lighter areas again with the darker at all, and it just creates just a really nice highlight, and then really going in with that darker right into that center where those petals are just really dense and compact in the center of that bloom. It's just so pretty, and I love Victorian velvet. It's actually a color I don't use that often. In fact, I was thinking about it, and I don't think I have this in an oxide, so I'm actually going to definitely have to add that to my collection. But I do really, really love watercoloring with distress inks. I think they just really do a great job of watercoloring. So here you can just see I'm finishing up these petals and just really enjoying this process. And I just think that this peony bouquet here that Dawn designed is just gorgeous, gorgeous. I love it so much. I love the big petals on these blooms, and I also love the larger leaves that just make it really, really super easy to color. And I am going to do the leaves for the peonies just the same as I did for that other bouquet. And when these are all finished, I actually left the stamps in my MISTI exactly where they were originally. I'm going to go back in with the black ink, and I'm going to just stamp these again. And I am going to heat emboss with some clear embossing powder to just really define the edges. Now, you might not want the darkness of the black. You might want to do no line watercoloring with these images. You can totally do that. Honeybee has a really great no line watercolor or no line coloring ink. I don't mind the look of the really dark lines. I think it just gives a different kind of a look. And so I'm just going over that with the clear embossing powder. It sticks nicely to that black pigment ink. And I'll just melt that, and we just get this really nice, crisp, clean, and shiny defined edge on these beautiful, beautiful florals. Now I'm going to take the coordinating dies and go ahead and tape those down with some Easy C tape. I am going to run those through my die cutting machine, and look how stunning these pieces are for creating your focal point for your project. Now I am going to use this Swirling Leaves Pierced A2 cover plate to create a panel for the front of my A2 top folding card base. And so I've run that through my die cutting machine, and I'm going to just go ahead and add some liquid adhesive onto the back of this and get that adhered down to my card front. I just love these pierced cover plates from Honeybee. This is not a new cover plate. This has been around in our collection for a little while, but I just love it. I think it's so pretty. I love that texture that it adds to my card front. So I'll just go ahead and take a few seconds to make sure that that is adhered onto my card base. I'll put a couple of little paperweights on that and set that off to the side. Now I did die cut the birdcage from white cardstock as well, twice. And so I'm going to adhere the 3 levels or 3 layers of the birdcage together to white, and then that brushed gold that you saw at the beginning of the video. So there's that white layer there, just so, so pretty. I love this bird cage. I think it's gorgeous. And we definitely have some other things that coordinate with this bird cage in the collection as well. So you're going to want to make sure that you check out the links in the description box to this release to check out all of the gorgeous products that we have that are part of Vintage Love. So I'm just adding a little bit of this liquid adhesive here and there on the bird cage, and I'll go ahead and add the next layer on top. So when I'm finished, I do have the 3 layers of paper together. It's going to make just this really, really sturdy bird cage for the front of my project. Now there's several dies in this Lovely Layers birdcage die set that allow you to add some details on your birdcage. I did die cut the little detail there for the very top of the birdcage out of white cardstock, and I'm just going to go ahead and add that on with my craft pick here. And I'm just getting that placed. I'll also add this piece of white cardstock that I die cut from one of the other dies from the Lovely Layers birdcage set to add a little bit of detail to the bottom there as well. And I just love that white on that brushed gold. I think it looks really pretty, and it just brings that white back into the birdcage a little bit to coordinate with the card. So now I'm just going to go ahead and get that liquid glue onto the bird cage and get that placed onto my card front here and get that adhered down. And once I do have that nicely adhered to my card front, I'm going to go ahead and add the beautiful florals to the bird cage. Now I have added some thin foam adhesive onto the back of my florals, and I'm going to just place them over to the side. Now it actually looks quite similar to the design of the card that I created for the Instagram hop. It's slightly different. It uses different stamps and dies, so you'll have to check that out for sure on the Honeybee Instagram page and my Instagram page as well. Now I'm just adding some white splatter onto this just to create that little bit of extra texture and interest, and a little bit of gold splatter as well. Then you can use whatever mediums you have in your stash to create your white and gold splatter. This is the sentiment that I chose from the beautiful Eternal Love stamp set. Of course, I did die cut that out with a coordinating die. It's been stamped in black ink, and I've just added it with a little bit of foam adhesive. Now these are some of the Vintage Love gem stickers that are brand new with this release. They are so pretty. I couldn't resist them. Friends, make sure you check out the description box below for links to the products that I've used for my project today. And do make sure that you hop along with the other creators who have created videos for this hop today as well. Have an amazing day, and I hope you were inspired and that you get crafty today as well. Bye-bye.